Oh snap. But these lyrics were just so good. I can't just be like, oh, this is a pretty song. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back. It's Rosalie. Welcome to the Ultimate World Music Reaction Channel, diving into a little bit more of Homefree. Shout out today to my patron, Jerry Bishop, requested Homefree in the Blood. So I'm going to check that out. I'm very excited because I have a few Homefree videos out. Go check those out if you're interested. They are from America. They are an a cappella group, a cappella. And yeah, I'm excited to check out another one of their songs today. I don't know what it's about. A very interesting title, In the Blood, but I'm super excited. I'm really happy that you are here. I'm back in the studio getting a lot done, so I can't wait to share the next batch of videos with you. I'm also super excited because I'm wearing my merch, my Choose Life collection inspired by Dimash's latest song and project, The Story of One Sky. Just a reminder that we are all under one sky, and that we should not war against each other, not choose hate or unkindness, but choose life, choose kindness, love each other, love ourselves, and yeah, choose life. I'll explain in a separate little short what this symbol that I created for you guys means to me and the different elements on it, but I'm super excited. It's really comfortable, so get yourself some merch. It's in the link below, all kinds of different designs. But let us dive in. Subscribe, like, comment, share, tell your mama, tell your brother, and everybody else. Here we go. I'm excited. Homefree in the Blood. Oh, that font is so pretty. So peaceful.
How much of my mother has my mother left in me? And how much of my love will be insane to some degree? And what about this feeling that I'm never good enough? Will it wash out in the water? Or is it always in the blood?
Oh snap. Oh, I get goosebumps when they do
How
that.
much of my father am I destined to become? Will I dim the lights inside me just to satisfy someone? Will I let this woman kill me or do away with jealous love? Will it wash out in the water? Or is it always in the blood? I can feel the love I want, I can feel the love I need, but it's never gonna come the way I am. Could I change it if I wanted? Can I rise above the flood? Will it wash out in the water, or is it always in the blood?
Friends, okay, I just want to say something real quick. I want to talk about the lyrics in the end. Like, you know, this channel is all about music and psychology. We take things apart musically, philosophically. Someone pointed out very well also psychosocially, right? Socially, anthropology. I love looking at different aspects, but I want to talk about the lyrics in the end because there's a lot of depth up in here. But just from a musical standpoint, real quick, I really love exploring their different songs. And what I've been learning through you and through my own exposure to this music now is that every one of the songs showcases somebody else more or less, right? They all carry the track together, but you have different songs where one takes more of the lead. So far, it's really cool to see how every one of them so far are carrying the verse. It starts with Tim, right, the bassist, and we're seeing Rob, we're seeing, is it Adam Chance, the guy with the voice like butter, so smooth, or like a smooth whiskey or something, really just very unique. I wonder if the other two are going to also have their part, but that's really cool to see in this song, is how they're all carrying it together as usual, but they're all contributing a significant piece or a verse. But again, we'll talk about the lyrics in a second. Let's keep going.
How much like my brothers do my brothers wanna be? Does a broken home become another broken family? And will we be there for each other like nobody ever could? Will it wash out in the water, or is it always in the blood? I can feel the love I want, I can feel the love I need, but it's never gonna come the way I am. Could I change it if I wanted? Can I rise above the flood? Will it wash out in the water, or is it always in the blood? Oh, 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 oh,
Okay.
I can feel the love I want, I can feel the love I need, but it's never gonna come the way I am. Could I change it if I wanted? Can I rise above the flood? Will it wash out in the water, or is it always in the blood?
Those high harmonies are dope too. Oh, that was good. That was beautiful. It was cool to hear. At one point, I feel like when they were all harmonizing again, I feel like I heard Austin's higher notes. If I saw or heard correct, if I heard correctly, I'm still learning how each of them sound. So it was cool to see, again, Rob on this one, big, Tim Faust on this one. It was nice to see. You guys have told me this. He can sing a great range, though he is the bass a lot of times on these songs. I feel like towards the latter part of this song, you heard his ability to sing higher and in the tenor range and not just stay in the bass. And then I think it was Adam Chance, wasn't it? Adam Rupp, is he the one that often does the beats and such and the beatboxing? Is that correct? But yeah, beautiful track, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Really, what I really like about Homefree, I was just listening to Pentatonics again the other day, and I think I'm gonna bring some of their music to this channel. Find a song that I don't know yet, so that I can listen to it with fresh eyes. But I do know of Pentatonics, and I know that they won these competitions, and they're more in the poppy, sometimes EDM lane, mostly pop. And they have their own thing going. It's cool to see each group having their own dynamics, their own vibe. I'm excited to check out Voice Play soon, so stay tuned for that. But what I like about Homefree, in addition to them being so talented, is the type of songs they do. I know they do all kinds of genres, even though country may be considered their main niche. But what I really like is, how should I put this? I like the warmth that they bring to these songs. They sing a lot of meaningful songs. It might not be a whole lot of pop, though I know they can do that too. And obviously, some of them can even do opera, which we now discovered recently. Check out that video if you're interested. But what I feel is so special is the sound that they bring have been very soothing, very meaningful, very in-depth. Now, the lyrics are powerful, and I want to talk about that in a second. Keep in mind, as I've said before, we're all about music, psychology, sociology, anthropology. I dig all of it. Oh, and philosophy, spirituality. Let's just, wherever it takes us, depending on what we can pull from the lyrics without maybe going too crazy deep. But this song, In the Blood, when I first read the title, I was like, I wonder what this is, right? Is this a Christian song? Is there something religious about it? I didn't know where they were going to take it because there's Christian hymns and songs that have that type of theme or title. And then, they begin singing and the lyrics say, how much of my mother has my mother left in me? How much of my love will be in sync to some degree? What about this feeling that I'm never good enough? Will it wash out in the water or is it always in the blood? Okay, so we'll start with that maternal part. All right, how much of her is left in me? My first thoughts are the whole... For as long as I think humanity can remember, the whole debate question at hand, is it nature versus nurture, right? How much of us is our environment, right? Sociology, the influences around us, the things that are invested in us, our environment, our culture, right? Our language, etc. How much is it nature, right? How much of it is it genetic, right? And of course, science has helped us understand more of that, has helped us see where there are some things that can be genetically inherited, and then there's things that could be psychological and possibly genetic, right? That there's certain predisposition, and then you add the environment and there's the trigger. Then you have things where, it's not quite clear, is this genetic? Or to me at least, it's like they say this is genetically inheritable, but is that really the case? How much can we measure percentage wise, right? And then you have statistics, and those are sometimes the biggest lies anyways. And the reason for that is that you have to have a very clear and precise criteria, and you have to have a giant, ideally a giant measuring stick, right? If I want to make an accurate statistic, I have to have as many examples and as many participants, if you will. I'm going to say participants if it's a statistic pertaining to people, right? If I were to try to find out who likes chocolate and I only ask 5 people, what are the chances of my statistic being accurate, right? If I ask 1,000, it's possible that my percentage of who likes chocolate and who doesn't is a little more accurate, but 1,000 compared to the millions on this planet, still not really valid, because now I have to ask, what about other countries, other cultures, what type of chocolate, right? So without going into crazy too much depth about statistics can lie, and they're tricky, and if we're not careful, they can even be biased, right? So when we look at that whole question, nature versus nurture, it's hard to put our finger onto it to 100% to 100% accuracy and claim it as truth and be, this is 100% true, right? Because even truth is tricky. Truth in and of itself is absolute. But at the end of the day, most things in life are theories until proven wrong, right? It's an axiom until it's falsified, right? That goes even for science. That goes for medicine. Medicine is a practice. What I'm saying is, when it comes to that whole debate, right? Is this true? How much can we know for a fact that it's true that 20% is nurture, 80% is nature? That is neither here nor there, because it will vary from person to person, right? And then again, I'm going really deep today. You have all these different types of approaches. How much of my mother has my mother left in me? How much of my love will be in sync to some degree, right? This question of how much of her is inside of me? How much of her have I taken on? What about this feeling that I'm never good enough? Oh, there's so much psychology here. That's why I really like these lyrics today, because it's so profound. Will it wash out in the water, or is it always in the blood? Again, this idea, is it something that can wash away, that I can be cleansed from? Sometimes it may make me think of baptism, right? You're washed in the water. For certain religions, that's either a symbolic or a literal, depending on faith, a literal or symbolic way of expressing a rebirth, right? You can be washed, it can be cleansed. Or is it in the blood? When something's in your blood, it's much harder to get out of. It's something we carry with us all of our lives, and we can't just get rid of it. We can change our shirt, we can change our hair color, but we cannot just change our blood. And then it continues, how much of my father am I destined to become? So interesting to say how much of my mother is left in me, right? It's very internal. And then as if it's something you're bringing with you from the past. And then the part that speaks of the father is more futuristic. Am I destined to become? Who am I going to be? Will I dim the lights inside me just to satisfy someone? It's so profound, you guys. These lyrics talking about the mother and the father, what we bring with us from them, what we take with us from them. And then the second part of each of these verses, that feeling of never being good enough. Will I dim the lights inside of me? It's really beautiful poetry, and it's a really cool structure here. I don't know if some of you guys dig English and English literary art. So even if you speak another language and you're using the subtitles, even in your language, sometimes there's poetry and there's ways to create and structure things to bring in much more beauty. This is not just a well-written song or beautiful lyrics and pretty rhymes. The parent, mother, then it talks about, will I ever be good enough? Father. Now it talks about dimming the light inside of me. This idea of self-doubt, of defeat. On one hand, never being good enough. On the other hand, dimming something inside to satisfy someone. That is incredibly relatable. I don't know about you, but I feel like there have been times in my life where I have dimmed things inside of me. I know today we're going deep, y'all. Where I've dimmed things, suppressed my needs and feelings out of fear of losing someone, of being rejected, and that can be for different reasons. Sometimes it's an unhealthy attachment style, right? We don't realize there's a lot of other love available out there. Sometimes it's a codependency. It's case by case, right? What may be the reason for my insecurities or my fears, my feeling of not being good enough. It may be from a different place than it is for you. That's why it's so interesting how complex all of us are. And then after the second stanza, it says, will I let this woman kill me or do away with jealous love? Decisions that have to be made. So not only talking about parents, our future, our internal self-doubts, we're also talking about our relationships. This woman, right? There's jealousy involved here. Am I going to allow this to kill me, or am I going to do away with this jealous love? Sounds like there's a toxic type of relationship here. I can't feel the love I want, but I can't feel the love I need. Will it wash out in the water, or is it always in the blood? Bwah. I can't feel the love I want. I can't feel the love I need, but it's never going to come the way I am. Wow. Could I change if I wanted? Can I rise above the flood? Fitting with the whole imagery of water and blood. Or is it always, will it wash out in the water? Or is it always in the blood? Always ending with that question. How much like my brothers, right? Now we're talking siblings, and brothers could also be, as in brothers in arms, your friends, those who are closer than blood, than family sometimes, because you've been through things together. How much like my brothers do my brothers want to be? Wow, so good, right? How much of them do they want to be? And this is deep too. Maybe I'm going really deep. Maybe I'm going too deep today. But this statement, how much like my brothers do my brothers want to be? So to me, there's two things I'm hearing. On one hand, it's like, how much do they want to be my brothers? Do they really want to be my brothers? Is this really, y'all want to be like this? My second interpretation is, how much like my brothers do my brothers want to be? How much do they want to be how I view them? That's kind of also a thought I'm having, right? The way that I would describe my brothers and my sisters, even though I know them well, it's still through my lens. It's still my perception of them. How much of that, of what I consider my brothers and sisters to be, do they want to be? Does a broken home become another broken family? So good. Cyclical, okay? We started with parents. We're going around relationships. We're tying it up with family and siblings. Perfect picture and imagery for the idea of blood and water, right? We know the saying, blood is thicker than water, implying family is tighter than friends and acquaintances. But then it ends with a broken home. Will that become another broken family? A lot of questions here. Will we be there for each other like nobody ever could? Will it wash out in the water, or is it always in the blood? Then there's this idea, and this also depends on, from a psychological standpoint, what theories you go with, right? If we were to look at it very Freudian, the second he talked about, how much of my mother left in me, right? There's all these ways to go, okay, this could be, you could interpret this in a Freudian way, right? We can look at Jung, we can look at all these different psychology fathers, if you will, right, who've based a lot of their approaches on different theories and then take those lyrics apart. And we're not going to go that deep today, but I do think that there's wisdom in various schools of thought. I don't think that one has all the answers, right? For example, there are things about Freudian, Sigmund Freud, who was a psychologist, that are a little bit out there and I don't agree with. And then there's aspects that make sense, right? And then you have those who are more focused on existential therapy, right? And then you have those who say, let's dig into the past. Let's go back and figure out what happened with mom or dad so that I can decide what's inside of me, what my destiny will be. And there's those who say there's no point in always digging in the past. We have to be present. What about now, right? There's all these different theories and schools of thought, and depending on if you are into this type of stuff, what you lean towards, you will probably interpret these lyrics differently. And if psychology and all these things are not your thing, you may interpret this based on your personal experiences and your personal preferences. And that's what I find so fascinating, is we all hear things and perceive things differently. The beautiful thing is when we can come together and we can say, I hear this means this to me. What about you? And I would love for you to let me know in the comments below, as always, where you're from, what this means to you. To me personally, this is a very beautiful song. How much of it can be washed away, and how much of it is in the blood? What do we do in either case? If it is really just something that can be washed in the water, will I take that step to get into the water? The toxicity, the self-doubt, the things you've carried from your mother and father and your brothers and your family, and the brokenness of that family that may or may not continue. If it is in the blood, to answer that question, or to ask that follow-up question. What does that mean? Again, nature versus nurture. If some of the things we do are really more of a nature thing, genetics, in the blood, do I use that as an excuse? If I come from a broken home and I say it's in the blood, if I have addiction in my family, it's in the blood, right? I think sometimes if we're not careful, depending on how we answer that in our own life, we may come to one or the other conclusion, okay? And that depends on the person too. Those who say it's in the water, they may say that, but they're unwilling to get into the water and wash it away and do the work to get therapy and get help and work hard to be better for the next generation, to take the good from mom and dad and throw away the bad, to make a difference and not continue that cycle of broken families becoming broken families, right? They may say it's a water thing, it's a nurture, it's my environment, I can wash it away, but they don't do the work. Then there's those who may say it's in the blood, and that could be a feeling of being overwhelmed and saying, I'm stuck with this. And some may argue, well, is that just an excuse? If I put it all on nurture, it's all in my system. It's not my environment, it's my genetics, it's in my blood, it's my family line. My mom and dad did this and that. This is why I am the way that I am. That too could become an excuse. So it depends on how you answer that question. So for me, the big picture would be nature versus nurture, water versus blood. What am I going to do? I think this idea that they conclude with, it's never going to come the way I am. I can't feel the love I want, right? I can't feel the love I need. I can't experience, I can't access what I'm looking for, what I want and need. It's never going to come the way I am. Could I change it if I want it? Can I rise above the flood? Concluding with this idea, this is not going to come. What I want, what I long for is not going to happen the way that I am now. And it implies this idea of change needs to happen. Can I change? It still ends on that question. Can I rise above the flood? Will it wash out in the water? Is it always in the blood? My answer would be no. Some of the things we long for, want, and need in life will not come the way we are, right? If I'm prone to toxic behaviors, but I long for a healthy relationship, the healthy relationship will not come. It may look healthy at first, but I will sabotage it with my toxicity if I'm not careful, right? If I'm looking to be a good mother, but I'm not doing the hard work to be better and learn from my parents and not do what I wish they didn't and do what they did well, if I don't do my part, no, those things will not come. The love I want, the love I need. And I think sometimes we live in a society where there's a lot of desire for external reparations. There's a lot of desire for, I'm offended by this and I don't like this and this should be more like this. And I'm prone to it too if I'm not careful. I say to you, this is not a place for bias confirmation, right? Open-mindedness, please. But if I'm not careful, I do exactly the same thing, right? Watching certain things that confirm how I feel, that agree with my opinion. And so I think it will take for us to change. It does take for us to rise above the flood. And my conclusion would be, it does not matter as much if it's washed in the water or always in the blood, because it will take work either way. The blood part will be harder, but I am a firm believer that there's always hope, and that even if it's in the blood, it should not be used as an excuse, but then you might have to go get a blood transfusion and do the hard work. Anyways, I went super, super, super deep today, and I hope that you will dig that type of stuff, psychology, sociology, philosophy, but these lyrics were just so good. I can't just be like, oh, this is a pretty song, like nice, So if you watched it till the end, wow, hats off to you, but I really liked this. Guys, I'm so happy you stopped by. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. There's life and death before you. Choose life. Let's learn not to make war and hate one another, but to love one another. Check out Dimash's song, The Story of One Sky, and my collection, Choose Life and One Sky, in my store, check the link below, will make much more sense. There's all kinds of products out there, different collections I created. Make sure to check the link below, buy yourself something or somebody you love, and have a blessed rest of your day. Like, share, subscribe, tell your mama, tell your brother, tell your sister, on that note, right? Tell your family. Remember, you are loved and you matter. This was Rosalie Reacts. Till next time, heyo!